All right, guys, we are going to jump into our lesson today on human sexuality. This topic can be a little awkward or funny, but I know that you guys are in 10th grade and you can handle it, so I just want us to move forward with maturity as we go through this. We have a lot to go through, so we're going to get right into it. And we're just going to start off by going through some of the female reproductive anatomy. So I have a frontal view, and then what this all looks like from the side. If you were to look at a person from the side, I think this is important because we often see this type of picture, and it looks like it's all in one line. But when we turn it to the side, we can see that it actually has multiple layers to it, right? All these little things are layered. So let's get right into some terminology. First off is the vagina, okay? This is going to be the small opening and canal right here. This is the first part at the bottom of the reproductive anatomy. And so this is going to be a muscular, flexible canal. This is where period blood comes through during menstruation. This is where it leaves the body. For those of you who are doing sexual intercourse, this is where all that is going to occur. And then this is also the birth canal for childbirth when that time comes. So then moving up, we go into the cervix. This is going to be a lower, narrow part of the uterus that connects to the vagina. And it's slightly open to allow for menstruation blood to go through. And then it widens during childbirth as well. So then if we keep moving up, we're going to see up here, there are some fallopian tubes. These are thin tubes that connect to the ovaries and the uterus, okay? And this is where the fertilization process happens. So when the uterus receives the sperm, this is where they're going to get fertilized. They're going to be in these tubes up here. This is where they meet the egg. Now the eggs come from the ovaries. These are these little sacs at the end here. Now these are two small organs that store and release the eggs called ova. So that's why it's called the ovaries. And they also produce hormones in our bodies like estrogen and proestrogen, which help regulate our menstrual cycle and produce and support our reproductive health. These two hormones can fluctuate a lot during menstruation, during being pregnant, and other times in our life. So that's just a really quick overview of our anatomy for females. Going into male anatomy, we are going to start on the outside here. This is just the side view, so we can see more in depth again that these are systems that have layers. They're not all equal. So starting here with the penis, this is going to be used for sexual intercourse and urination. Males only have one opening on their penis, and this is called your urethra. And so it's going to be this tube, and it goes up here into your bladder. So then moving over here a little bit, we're going to go to the scrotum right here. And this is a little fold, a little pouch of skin that holds and protects the testicles. The sac regulates the temperature and it keeps them regulated so that the sperm can survive in there. And then we will jump to the epididymis, which is going to be on the outside of our scrotum. And this is a coiled tube that holds the back of each testicle where the sperm mature and keep them until they're ready to be released. Then males have a prostate gland, which is going to be up here, we're going to go up the penis and then in between the bladder. That's where we're at for the prostate gland. And this produces fluid that helps protect the sperm and allows them to move more effectively, right? So it's kind of their travel system that is produced in the prostate gland. And then the vas deferens is going to be a long tube that transports the sperm once they're mature and ready to come down here into the penis and exit. So that's that job. All right. So we've covered a little bit of anatomy. That was a very quick overview of just the basics. As you can see, there are a few more parts in the male and female reproductive organs, but I just wanted to give you guys the basics for today. So moving on to prevention, when we're talking about sexual intercourse, there's a lot of things that can happen. We can get HIV, AIDS, STIs, STDs, and of course pregnancy can occur. So just some quick facts on what all these things are. HIV is human immunodeficiency virus. Sorry about that. This is a virus that attacks the immune system and makes it harder for us to fight off infections. And it can spread through different types of the body, through fluid during unprotected sex, as well as through sharing needles. So this is something that's common with drug addicts who may be sharing needles, or just being unsterile in a healthcare environment, and also from parent to child during breastfeeding or childbirth if the mom already has HIV. When HIV goes untreated, it goes to the next level and it becomes AIDS. This is now an untreatable version. You can get medicine that can help, but it is not curable at this time. Whereas if you're just at the HIV level, it can be curable with proper medication and intervention. Then for the most common STIs, these are the three that you're probably going to see the most. It's going to be chlamydia, gonorrhea, and HPV, which is human papillomavirus. So chlamydia is going to be a bacterial infection that has no symptoms usually. And so it has no symptoms, but it does have effects after you get it, which can be painful urination, infertility, and reproductive problems. The good news is it's easily treated with antibiotics. So this is curable and you can cure it in about a week, one cycle of antibiotics. You just need to know that you have it. Second would be gonorrhea. This is also a bacterial STI that may cause burning or unusual discharge, and many people also have no symptoms. And so it's important that you're talking with your partners and getting screened for these, because that's probably one of the first ways you're gonna know if you came in contact with it. And then for HPV, this is a very common virus that spreads through skin-to-skin sexual contact. Some causes are going to be like genital warts, and sometimes it can even lead to certain types of cancers. There is a vaccine that protects against the most dangerous types of HPV. So those are just the most common ones that you guys might run into. Sorry, my PowerPoint is glitching. Okay, so going into prevention on some of the things we just covered, the most common way that you're going to prevent this is going to be using a barrier protection such as a condom. But the best way to make sure that you never contract any of these would be abstinence, which is not having sex. If you're not having sex, you can't contract any of these. And this isn't to scare you guys, it's just to let you know about your options and how to make sure that you're being safe and making the best options for you. So I have a little true or false. Who thinks that hormonal birth control can prevent these? So this is actually false. Hormonal birth control can't stop you from getting HIV, STD, or AIDS. The only thing that hormonal birth control prevents is pregnancy. Now, talking on prevention of pregnancy, it's looking like my computer is freaking out a little bit and it's cutting off the bottom of my slide, but we'll just talk about these ones that we can see right now. For pregnancy, the best way to prevent pregnancy is, again, not to have sex. If you're not having sex, you can't get pregnant. So this is 100% effective. Now, two really common forms of hormonal birth control would be the IUD and the implants. Now, these are little devices that they put into your body and they release certain hormones that affect your menstrual cycle and your ovulation, right? So you're not producing these eggs aren't getting fertilized, more so. You always have eggs, but they're not getting fertilized or not getting released for fertilization. And so the IUD and the implant are around 99% effective when used correctly. Now, the birth control pill is about 91 to 93% effective. So it is a little bit less effective than these other methods. And then the last one on here is going to be a barrier condom, typically the male condom, and this one's about 84% effective. So while this is a really common one, it's not quite as effective as a lot of people think it is, especially if it's not being used correctly. And then withdrawal is when you withdraw before ejaculation happens, and this is 81% effective. So this would be the lowest of all your options for preventing pregnancy. So now let's talk about possible choices and outcomes, negative and positive, related to making choices around sexual health. So our first one, for example, is choosing to use a condom. The short-term benefit would be it lowers the risk of pregnancy and STIs and reduces the stress of, am I going